Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 11 of the No Punches Pulled podcast. Liam Tullis changed the way he looks down bottom tonight, but we're delighted to be joined by iBoxing Hub's Mr. Neutral as a special guest co-host tonight, and obviously Jay's Fight Talks in the building. How are we, gents?
Yes, boys. Tip top, ready to go.
All ready.
Good stuff, boys. Good stuff. I'll start on last week, as we always do. Mr. Neutral, you were there, I believe, all of fight week in Manchester at the New Co-op Live on the ground, covering things your end. But I mean, overall, a really good fight. We've covered the whole card, but I guess as we've got you on as a special guest today, just let us know how the week went for yourself and what the atmosphere was like in Manchester, because it turned out to be a sneaky good event in the end.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, mate. From Wednesday to Saturday, just a brilliant experience for me. You know, just going to a fight. I love going to the fights as a fan, but to go as media is just something else. And I could tell from the press on Thursday that it was big. You know, the amount of media that was there, foreign media as well. So that gave me an idea of the brand new Co-op Arena, what it's going to be like. And boy, didn't disappoint Saturday night. What a place that is. And obviously you saw yourself on the television what the atmosphere was like. Really, really good. And it was an absolute pleasure to be there. I mean, fantastic. What more could you ask for as a fan?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, it looked, to be honest with you, I was a little bit skeptical during the build-up, because we all spoke last week about doing the public workout kind of the week before the fights and stuff like that. And I believe the first time when it was called off due to Cattrall, I believe it was being injured. I don't think sales were going too well, but it looked like, I mean, you were in the arena. It looked like it was a good atmosphere, and it looked like there was a good lot of tickets sold in the end.
Yeah, 8,000 tickets sold. Place was rocking. Obviously, arena it goes up another tier. But God knows how many it holds there. But
22, I believe. 22 and a half is the capacity at full. So it's going to be some big fights there in the next few years, I think. Absolutely.
And Eddie, I asked him that question about in collaboration with the owners of the court, and they were. The Etihad team are all part of it. They're building arenas all around the place, which gives us a clue as to where fights may be held with Turkey. I'll shake cards in the future. There's one out in Phoenix, Arizona that's being built that he was explaining. They're going all over the world. So, you know, if you follow that train of thought, then, you know, these are guaranteed places where, you know, fights are going to be held for the future, as well as other events. But yeah, it's looking good. And that place was rocking it was.
Yeah, it looked brilliant. Big up Jam's Boxing Chat. Thanks for tuning in. Big up Sam Jane, the main man, Mr. Neutral, representing iBoxing Hub, our friends over there. Absolutely. Håkan Johansson's joined us. Big up Håkan. Hope you're well, my friend. DJ Pat's in the house, of course, as well. The legend, Mr. Neutral, in the house. Absolutely. Loving that. Luca's on. Top man, Luca. Hope you're well, my friend. 23 to 24, Jam and Håkan reckon for the capacity for the co-op. We've covered, haven't we, Jay, most of Cattrall Prograis. I always call it Cattrall Taylor, don't I? Because I just can't stop saying Josh Taylor and Jack Cattrall's names. We won't bore everybody with more to do with that. I just wanted to pick Mr. Neutral's brains, as he was on the ground there in Manchester last week. But let's look ahead to this week, guys, because there's actually 3 decent cards that I've got on my radar. But correct me, Jay, if I'm wrong. There may be more, but there's 3 that I've got my eye on. We may as well start in Birmingham. That's probably from a UK point of view anyway, that's the one that we're focusing on mainly. We've got the main event, which is rescheduled again. It was meant to happen a couple of months ago on the Magnificent 7 card. I think Heaney and Pauls ended up headlining it in the end when Liam Davies got injured. Everyone knows how I am on Liam Davies. He's one of my favourite fighters to watch. Absolutely love. You know, it's kind of kill or be killed within his last few fights, and I just love watching that style he's got. But we've got Chantel Cameron's on the undercard as well against Burgold. That should be a really fun fight as well for the ladies. Echo Esserman, fresh off that huge fight of the year knockout in his last fight as well. So I'll start with you, Jay, but it's actually a sneaky good card, isn't it, that Queensbury put on again? And Birmingham's getting some good cards, isn't it, this year, definitely?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of slipped under the radar. It's, you know, we've had some big shows on over the past few weeks, some big events. So I think this one's sort of missed out on marketing. You know, but people within the know, like ourselves, that are sort of look out for fights and stuff. But in terms of the mainstream, it's not had that much press. But ultimately, it's a really good card. It's got some really good trade fights on there. You could say 50-50 fights. I think the main event is definitely, you know, in some people are saying it's 50-50. I don't believe it is myself. I think it's more sort of 60-40, maybe 65-35 in Davies' favour, but it's still a great matchup. There's some, you know, Chantel Cameron's in a fight, you know, and I don't mean that being flippant or blasé about, you know, being in a fight.
That'll be a good fight, that. She's only lost to Jonas Bergholt.
But Bergholt can scrap, and if Chantel Cameron's not on it, you know, she's with a new team now. She's, you know, she's only is this her second fight or even a first fight under the new team? She's not been with them long, you know, so
she left Jamie Moore, did she? She was with Jamie Moore, was it, before?
She left Jamie Moore, so I'm not sure whether this is her first or second fight. Is this her first fight back since?
No, she fought one on the last Birmingham card. Her first fight with Frank Warren was on the last Birmingham card.
This will be a second fight.
Second fight under Queensbury.
We're hoping to see a better performance from her than, you know, I'm not saying she was bad in her last performance, but the reason she's moved on is to improve. You know, I'm not saying she blamed Jamie and Nigel and them in Manchester for her losses, but she wanted to freshen it up. So I'm expecting to see something different from Chantel Cameron. You know, Esserman is in a great fight. So yeah, for me, it's a good trade card. I'm just gutted that it's not had more press and marketing, because I believe it could be a bigger card. You know, Liam Davies should really be a bigger name than what he is. He's a fantastic fighter. He's never really in dull fights. He comes to win. Masoud again, you know, he beat the golden boy as such, Jack Bateson, who was, you know, destined for big things. He was one of the first Sky Scholars, and then he sort of fell off the radar and boxed. He sort of boxes on his dad's regional shows, don't he? And he sort of crept up, you know, and he's only lost his only losses to Masoud. I think he got stopped in the last round. I remember he got stopped in the late, maybe 10, 11, 12. But, you know, so for me, it's a great card. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited by it, even though it's not star-studded, and, you know, but some of the best fights I've ever seen are British title fights. I've said before, and I think one of the best fights I've ever seen live was Stuart Hall and Jamie McDonnell. Doncaster Dome for the British and Commonwealth titles. I was sat in a packed little venue, but, you know, British title means a lot to British fighters. It does. I think it's undersold in the mainstream, but that Lonsdale belt, not just to look at as a beautiful belt, because it is, it's probably up there for me as one of the prettier belts. But it means a lot to fighters. I've been in camps with fighters that have defended or fought for it, and it means a lot to fighters. So I'm expecting 2 or 3 great fights that are not pick'ems for me, but certainly I wouldn't be surprised if the results go either way. Other than the main event, I think the main event for me is Davies to lose. But I think the other fights, even Chantel Cameron, you know, if she doesn't turn up and is anything other than on it, she could lose. She could lose on Saturday night. Don't expect her to. There's potential banana skin there, isn't there?
That's exactly it. Jam said Healy Johnson. That should be decent. Gav Burrows, make sure you check that out over on Boxing Media Hub later this week. So big up Jam and Joel for that. Håkan saying that Bergholt's been out for 18 months before a comeback in Sweden. Could be a big night for DJ Pat and Håkan there, but hopefully she's fighting fit, Håkan, to challenge Chantel Cameron. We'll cover the Pro Box card on Friday. Headlined by Poddy McCrory in his first fight back since Edgar Berlanga. Håkan, thanks for reminding me about that one yesterday, because I've forgotten about that. What are your thoughts, Mr. Neutral, on the Birmingham show on Saturday?
One of our local guys is going to be covering that in Birmingham, so I'm going to hold out for, you know, that But the thing is, I don't know too much about, British boxers at that level. I must admit, I'm more of a USC guy, over the pond. But I know some of the names on there. Liam Davies is one that I'm particularly interested this weekend. Yeah, so it's a great card, as I understand it. Listening to the guys in the group chat, I'm gonna look forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Gives
For
us a
me,
chance this weekend because to focus on the British boxing more than the continental and the world title stuff now, because when Riyadh season stops, we're going to get a flood of domestic level British fights going to be in cards happening off season with Riyadh. So this will be the prelude to it. Are you going, Jay?
No, to be honest, I don't go anymore. I don't go to shows.
Oh, you don't
anymore.
go anymore?
I've travelled the world. I've been to,
Done it all,
Vegas.
yeah.
I've been all over. No, I don't mean that being flippant. Like it's not worth me going.
No. You've
like that.
you've come to that state of mind. You just don't need
I
to
used
mix
to
it
go.
anymore.
My son really loved Crawler. He's a friend of mine, so I used to go for him more than anything. I struggle in crowds. I'm uncomfortable, and I prefer watching it on my own, like a psychopath in pitch black with volume off, or talking to this kid here doing watch along. So no, I won't be going.
That's it. I'm the same.
I love
And then I
watching
got
by
persuaded to
myself,
go and do
so
shows.
I can't stand people tripping over me and spilling beer on me and
Oh.
bloody fights.
I had you down as a Sweet Caroline guy, Jay.
I mean, listen, I've been stood on chairs singing Sweet Caroline at the top of my voice, mate. But I like to properly watch it now, and I even when I'm in the arenas, I find myself watching the screens to get a proper view. So I just like watching it. Plus, I'd prefer not to have to spend a load of money to get trodden on into. But you can't beat the atmosphere of a live show. You can't beat it. You can't beat it.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed going on my own, as media, rather than going a large group of lads, because you just miss so much.
That's it.
I mean, you can just sit there and focus on what you're watching.
I've followed Anthony Crawler all over, from domestic right through to world title, right? He got his world title shot. We'd waited years for it. And I kid you not, when he stopped him, I bent down to pick a bottle of water up. And when I sat up, I'd missed it. Whereas if I'd have been at home, I'd have bloody, I'd have sorted it. Cost me a small fortune.
Crazy, isn't it? That's the only thing when you're live. You've got eyes.
You've got to concentrate.
Eyes on the prize. Yeah. Definitely.
Just a couple of comments to catch up on. DJ Pat said Chantel was salty that she did not get that trilogy, to be honest. I think that's why she left Matchroom in the end, wasn't it? Pat, over the Katie Taylor trilogy. Her and Amanda Serrano getting record female payday. So big up them on the Netflix. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson card. There's one positive to come out of it. It's that Serrano and KT are getting weighed in. So good luck to them. Håkan said, I couldn't fly over to the UK this weekend to support Patricia Burgholt. I've been to 10 fights with her. Big up, Håkan. That's great. Hopefully she can do it for Sweden, my friend. We'll cover Robson Conceicao against O'shaquie Foster later.
Good fight.
On that one, I'm looking forward to that. Definitely.
Puts on the same kind of performance and outpoints Foster like he did last time.
Outboxes O'shaquie Foster again, like he did the first time.
Using the old punch me on the forehead scoring system.
That was we'll have a good chat about that.
If he loses again, there's going to be another appeal.
Yeah. It'd be classic boxing that Conceicao 12-0, O'shaquie Foster in the rematch.
I said that to you tonight, didn't I? I said Conceicao will probably spark him. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Big up Dave at Rope podcast. He's joined us. Lads, do you think Chantel's wasting her time chasing Katie Taylor? Win on Saturday to 147 with Price, Jonas, Mara. Yeah, there's some good fights there.
She is.
Mate. She has to move on, man. Katie Taylor. The second the trilogy wasn't made, that fight's dead in the water. That fight's done.
Yeah.
Katie Taylor's not looking down or back. Katie Taylor's ready for out. She's got half a foot out the door. I think she'll fight Serrano, win, lose, or draw. She'll hang them up. I think Katie Taylor's done. So that fight's never
with $6.1 million in her back pocket.
Yeah, credit to her, man. She deserves it. Although a trilogy at Croke Park in Dublin with Amanda Serrano is a big, big payday, especially if Serrano wins the rematch and it's 1-1.
Yeah, but I think Katie's done. I really do. You can see that she's not as fast as she was. She's lost that little step. The gap's getting close, and I'd hate to see Katie Taylor get stopped or beat by somebody that couldn't lace her boots.
Serrano hurt bad in the last round, didn't she? In the first fight,
yeah, and I believe she's done more for boxing, not just women's boxing. I hate categorizing them, but Katie Taylor put boxing on the map at one stage. The transition from amateur to professional. I know we've had the likes of Khan and people like that turned over for a certain demographic. But Katie Taylor's crossed over so that men and women aspire to be like her. She's done a lot for Ireland. She's done a lot for amateur boxing. I think Katie Taylor's got a lot to put back into boxing, but boxing's taken a lot from her. And I'd love to see her go out, get the win, and just bow out gracefully, because I don't want to see her then go on too long and get beaten up by somebody, as I said, that potentially couldn't lace her boots 2 years ago, because, boxing or fight sports or sports in general is unforgiving. And we all have seen people go on too long and bad things happen to them. My brother went on too long and he's struggling now, and he was nowhere near the levels that we're talking about. My brother boxed for a British and won an English title, but went on too long and took 3 or 4 fights that he should never have took. And he's suffering now in his life. So, I'd hate to see that happen to Katie Taylor. I don't believe it will. I think she's got a good enough team around her to advise her. But also, she's probably not thought about life after boxing, because I assume it's difficult. I've seen it myself. Like I say, with my brother, he didn't know what to do with himself without it. Coaching only gives them so much. I believe that they can't get up for coaching like they can for fighting. But no, I know what you mean about the trilogy and stuff, but I think she beats Serrano, and I think she beats her handily. And then hopefully we will, not hopefully, but I'd like to see her, bow out and do something different.
Yeah, she's got nothing left to prove, has she, at all?
No,
Katie Taylor.
No chance. She's done it all.
I'm looking forward to just before we move on to O'Shaquie Foster and Robson Conceicao. I'm looking forward to the clash of styles in the main event. Liam's looked. I'm biased to Liam a little bit sometimes because he's from not too far from where I grew up. So I'll always.
You're going to tell us he's your favourite fighter again, Sam?
He's one of my. He's not my favourite fighter, but he's one of my favourite fighters to watch because I love his.
Brilliant.
He tries to finish a fight in 2 or 3 rounds every time, and he'll get dropped, and he'll come back and he'll just have it with you. And he's a bit of a dying breed. You don't see that too often these days with fighters.
He's a fighter,
and he's willing to walk through the fire. And Masoud isn't going to give him that kind of fight though. Masoud's not as powerful as Liam, and he's going to ask him questions. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the clash of styles works. And Liam might have to. I do expect Liam to get the victory, but he's going to have to work for it. So I think it could be it could be a decent fight to watch. But I know we all want to talk about this one anyway, so let's get stuck in. We'll go to O'Shaquie Foster challenging. He's challenging Robson Conceicao for the WBC Super Featherweight Championship.
I don't know why Conceicao hadn't just moved on. I mean, he got the win. We all saw it. He got the win. I don't know why he hadn't just moved on. O'Shaquie Foster should go back and earn his shot. I'm joking, obviously. It's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Foster, for me, is up there, as in terms of skill set. He hits fairly hard. He's really good, and it's a disgrace what happened. I think, to be fair, it's one of those decisions for me that I would have felt comfortable if it had got overturned. And they can do that. They are allowed to do that, but they don't, do they? They never do. They'll do another rematch, take their percentage, and everything's hunky-dory. But for me, it was a disgusting decision. You could say it was 10-2 or 11-1 or, some said 12-0, but it was an easy victory for Foster for me. And, here we are having a rematch to make it 1-1.
I think the irony in all this is that we've got to acknowledge at some point that boxing has a problem with judging. And this goes sort of highlights this problem and ongoing to world title fights like you saw with the top Evan Bevel, the Polish judge, who was wide of the mark compared to his colleagues. It just goes to show, and what would be ironic more than anything is if Conceicao beats.
Yeah, it would. And you can see it happening, can't you? You can see it
and
already.
then you get
He's going to beat Shock Foster clean. You can just see it.
yeah, and then you get people who say, "Well, the judges had it right first time." So, what was the problem?
I know.
So, you know, it opens a very, like you say, Jay, they should just move on. It just opens a very sort of trapdoor type effect for O'Shaquie here.
Well,
you know, I get the
for me, it was the worst
point of
decision
proving
since
that.
Taylor Petrol won.
No, well, for me,
it was the worst decision for me since then.
There's a number of problems for me, right? We all saw the decision, right, and it was disgusting and it was wrong and it was one of the worst decisions. But if for them not to overturn it and question the judges, maybe suspend them and give them some more retraining.
I think it's more of a legal thing.
No, well, to make the rematch is basically saying, well, yeah, we were wrong. Because if the decision was correct, they would have moved on and Conceicao would have fought his mandatory, not Foster. They wouldn't rematch Foster. So they're admitting, yeah, we were wrong, so we'll make them fight again to put it right, which is wrong. That's the wrong.
Who promotes Shock Foster? Because Conceicao's a top rank guy, isn't
he?
He's a PBC guy, is he right? Because Bob Arum came out and defended the decision. Did he not in the initial aftermath? I'm sure he did. But obviously Conceicao's his fighter, so that's obviously why he did that. He also was in the ring saying Josh Taylor beat Jack Cattrall and so on and so forth. So pinch of salt on that kind of thing. But so well, to be fair to O'Shaquie Foster, you know, he went and beat Rocky Hernandez on a Matchroom show, and he fought Conceicao 2 times now on top rank shows. So as a PBC fighter, he's going on away fighter shows and defending his world championship. So credit to him for that. But hopefully we get some proper judging. If Conceicao wins it clean, then he wins it clean. It's one of them things. But Lucas said, funny how often top rank on the right side of these fishy ones. I love it. The worst of
he's right though.
Yeah, Jam, that's a good one. I mean, Tim Bradley in the Pac-Man, the first one. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was. I feel sorry for Tim Bradley. He got really. He actually fought Ruslan Provodnikov in his fight after that, and he'd had terrible death threats and all the rest of it. And he went out and fought Provodnikov really emotionally and got badly hurt and showed the heart of an absolute warrior to get through that Provodnikov fight. If any of you remember that one, it was absolutely crazy.
I was there when he beat Junior Witter.
Yes.
To win the WBC title long time ago.
Yeah, crazy fight. Yeah, it was an unbelievable fight, Jam, definitely. So yeah, hopefully we get something, some good judging in O'Shaquie Foster against Conceicao, the rematch on Saturday night. Fair play to them. They've got it on within 3 months of the first one, so they haven't hung around or anything like that, which is always good. Hawkan mentioned it in the comments a little while ago. We've got a Pro Box card. These Pro Box cards are decent and they're getting some decent enough names on them. Won't spend too long on it, but it's headlined Polly McCrory's returning in his first fight since his knockout defeat to Edgar Berlanga. He's fighting a tough Colombian. He's 17 wins and 16 knockouts. Carrillo, I think his name is. He's been stopped a few times himself, but can clearly bang. So there might be a bit of danger there for Poddy. But the one I'm looking forward to most, I believe it's chief support. It's Robbie Davis Jr. against Javier Fortuna. Now Fortuna's been in with Ryan Garcia, Jojo Diaz have been in with some decent. They're both 35, probably towards the back end of their career. But if you remember, Robbie Davis Jr. fought Sergei Lipinets in his last fight, I think it was, and that was a war. I don't know if any of you remember that or saw it, but it was an incredible fight. So if we get anything like that, that could be a sneaky good card in Belfast on Friday. If any of you have any interest in that one.
Yeah, definitely from a Friday night point of view.
Yeah, I mean, boxing's always good on a Friday night, but Robbie Davis Jr. is barely in, bad fights. Even the fight when he rolled his ankle, for me, he was winning that fight, and then he hurt his ankle, didn't he? And just sort of fell to pieces. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner, but he just couldn't concentrate. He could barely walk, and you know. So
Yeah.
Bobby Davies Jr., for me, I hate saying this, but I think he's been unlucky. You know, he's had injuries and, you know, he's been caught and stuff like that. I really had high expectations of him, and he just hasn't got over that hump, so to speak. I think he's just been unlucky, and, you know, this is a fight. You know, Fortuna's been in with some of the best. You know, he's never really been blown out in a couple of rounds by any of them. He's always put up a good account of himself, and if Robbie's not on it, then, you know, he could. There's no reason he couldn't lose this fight. He's not. I mean, he'd be the favourite for me, but, you know, he could easily lose this fight. Fortuna can bang as well as box, you know, so it could turn out to be a dogfight. This could be one of the fights of the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I remember watching Davies Jr. when I used to live in Liverpool. Valerie Brudov against Tony Bellew was the main event at the Echo Arena at the time. And Davies Jr. was on the undercard. He's been around for, this would have been like 10, 11 years ago. He's been around for ages. So both men probably fighting for their career, actually, in that one. Yes, Jam, it should be a good one, that as well. Poddy against Carrillo. Yeah, he can bang. He's based out of Barcelona, I think, but he's Colombian. Yes, good man, Hawkan. I'll be trying to catch most of it myself, but I'll definitely be watching the chief support and the main event. Davies knocks Shabaz Masoud out within 6. Yeah, I may say a little bit later myself, but
yeah, I'm thinking like 9, something like that. 9,
8 and 9.
I agree, Jay. I agree.
I think Masoud. Sorry to cut you. I didn't mean to be rude, but I think Masoud's longer. So I think in the early rounds, Masoud will be able to get away with keeping him off, sort of moving around.
Yeah.
But I think eventually, as fatigue sets in and Davies starts to get his time, and I think he'll start to trap him and he won't leave him any exits. And I think eventually Masoud will exert that much energy trying to keep away from him that he'll get trapped. And I think he'll get overawed. And I expect Davies to put it on him 8, 9, 10 and get him out of there.
Yeah,
totally agree, Jay. His last 3 fights, he's got them out of there early. Masoud is going to put up a far more difficult style-wise to get to him, as you quite rightly say, Jay. It will take him, for me, at least 6 rounds to start really putting pressure on and dominating, and then I can see from round 8 onwards at any point that stoppage. What you say?
Most definitely.
It's just that level of opponent that he's fought, and he's, you
Masoud, Masoud hasn't.
Robles was a really good win.
It was, IBO champion now as well, Liam Davies.
Masoud hasn't really boxed anyone of a pedigree. Jack Bateson, probably one of the better fighters that he's boxed, and you know, Jack Bateson's okay. I don't think Jack Bateson's would beat Davies, and Masoud stopped him late. So his power potentially carries through late. I don't think he hits as hard as Davies though, so I think his power will eventually take over.
Liam will stick it right on him from the first bell as well. He'll let him know from the minute it goes. It'll be fun to watch.
He won't mess around.
Yeah, I just think he's got that awkward gangly style, Masoud.
Yeah, he's 13-0, 14-0, something like that. Jamsy is Masoud.
4 knockouts, so he's not a knockout much, and he's more of a UD points victory man.
Yeah, I think when he stopped Bateson just ran out of steam towards the back end of the fight. I think it was fatigue more than anything, sort of a mixture of fatigue and headshots that stopped him. I don't believe it was a flatline KO, and I don't think Masoud has that type of power, but it's the ones you don't see that hurt you. So, Davies will still have to be careful. He'll still have to be careful, but I just believe he edges him in every department other than length. I think he edges him on power, he edges him on speed, and ring craftsmanship as such. What I've seen of them both, but I believe that Liam Davies can adapt more than Masoud. Masoud's pretty much the same in every fight. That might be to do with his opponents, but I've seen a bit more of Davies have to change things. Sort of 2 or 3 rounds in, he's trying something, it doesn't work, he'll try something different. That doesn't work, he'll try something different. Masoud goes through the gears, but does the same thing repetitively, and it works for him. He grinds out victories. So I think there's a lot more ways that Davies could get a win, just on him having a little bit more. And I'm trying my best not to make it sound like I'm slagging off Masoud's skill set, because I'm not. I highly respect what he's done and the skill set that he's got. I just think that Davies is that bit better.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I saw that today, Hawk, and I saw Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi were over in Ireland. I think Mick and Jamie Conlon had a press conference for the war in Waterford. I think they're billing it as on December the 7th. Tyrone McKenna back out of retirement again, obviously retired after Lewis Crocker put a bit of a beating on him at the back end of last year. But hopefully we get Paddy Donovan and Lewis Crocker announced soon. I don't know about you guys.
That's
I'd love to see that fight.
Yeah, that's what should be headlining that.
Yeah.
I think Matchroom are going to hopefully put that on in January in Belfast. Hopefully, that's the fight to make, 1,000,000%. Yeah, proper Irish tear up that, Jams, for sure, 100%. So yeah, just covering off them boys, a couple of things that have come up in the news since last time we spoke. Lucas said absolutely loved Tyrone McKenna, but he should have stayed retired. Yeah, Lewis Crocker put an absolute beating on, and so did Prograis, actually, Regis Prograis when he fought Tyrone McKenna. But he's so tough. McKenna, he'll just sit there all night and take him. He's one of them kind of fighters. You'd have to hit him with a baseball bat to keep him down. You know, the amount of shots he took off Lewis Crocker.
Absolutely.
That night, he's a tough man. Is Tyrone McKenna? So massive credit to him. And yeah, I know what you mean, Luca. Though he's definitely at the tail end of his career now, should we say? So you don't want to see him take too many, or his chin not hold up anymore and that kind of thing. But he's getting long in the tooth, but he's still a real fighting man. Jam says, "I enjoy." Yeah, he's a legend.
I think that's the problem, though. He loves the scrap, doesn't he? You know,
he loves it. It's all he knows. All he knows.
And it's not good at when he's of a certain age, your speed's gone, you react to them, your fast twitch muscle fibers are not the same as what they are. He took a lot of damage, and he's always took punches well. But as you get older and they start to, they have an accumulative effect. I would hope that this is one of, if not his last fight. And that's, again, as I always say, no disrespect to him. I couldn't do half of what he's done, nowhere near. But do your podcast, brother. It's funny, it's popular.
His podcast's great. Yeah, with Big Tommy McCarthy.
It's great in the face, but that's what he loves.
Yeah, 100%. It's difficult for them when they've been doing it since such a young age to let it go. It's all they know. So credit to him. Hopefully he can go out there and put on a good show in December in Waterford. Couple of things to cover off then, guys. First off, I want to speak about Lawrence Okole's officially joined Queensbury Promotion. So he's as a heavyweight as well. So he's Bridgerweight champion, wasn't he? He was with Boxer, and it went a bit quiet for a while. But Frank's got some stranglehold on that heavyweight division, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I'm still getting over watching Lawrence Okole live. It's one of the most boring experiences I've ever had in my life. He boxed on an undercard in Manchester a few years ago. I'm assuming it was a crawler undercard. I think he boxed for the Commonwealth at the time. It was.
Was it against Matty Askin?
Possibly.
No,
because that wasn't that boring. It were boring, but no, this was against. I think it was an African. I'll have to check, but it was awful. Lawrence Okole, underwhelming every single time he fights. God love him. He's two-time world champion, but his style is just horrific, and he's got such long arms and such concussive punching that if he put it all together, he could be so exciting to watch. But I think he's scared of getting knocked out. I think
something holds him back when he's. I don't know if it's maybe mentality or something,
but he's apprehensive of letting it go in the pocket for too long. Well, I have to say it again, for fear of what's coming back. And I think if he stopped worrying about that and having cuddle parties, he'd be in a lot more exciting fights, because the kid's good. He's got a great skill set and natural attributes.
He's good for the winter nights, Jams. You don't have to keep the heat on.
But I think the CBS fight just told me that he has zero plan B.
Yeah.
That hug fest with Chris, he didn't do nothing different in entire fight. To the problems that Chris was presenting him. I do question this move because it's a hell of a jump from 185 to over 224.
I don't think he's big enough.
I don't think
He's got
big
the
enough,
Wilder
really.
frame, doesn't he? He's got like that Deontay
but he
Wilder,
ain't got Wilder
gangly.
power,
Yeah.
has he?
He's like a heavier version of Wilder, but he's more eaten though. But as Jams quite rightly says, when he comes up against clean power punchers like Wardley or a Dubois, a Caballero, he's gonna know it. He is gonna know it. 240-pound plus guys, right hands hitting you. Whether he can take that, being a former Bridgerweight champion, but he only had one fight, albeit Babic, and then he was a cruiserweight before that, but he wasn't even world level. Now this Bridgerweight thing has just elevated him into a false status for me.
Yeah.
Rank number 5 for the WBC. I don't get it, but I get it from a promotional side of view for Queensbury and using that activation status that you have with being a Bridgerweight champion and moving up a weight. I get it, but I don't see him winning a fight at heavyweight at all.
I think Moses
top 10.
Atoma would beat him now. I think
was Luke for that was it Rosansky? He fought him in Poland, didn't he? He went and won in a round. He knocked him out in a round. The guy battered Alan Babic, and he knocked Babic out in a round.
I wouldn't even. I mean, he was another one that was given too much kudos. But
Johnny Fisher knocked him out in about 30 seconds.
Crap. Yeah, but always was. He just got promoted. He had a decent following. He got fights.
He was with Dillian White's white collar thing.
He got fights on Dillian's undercard because Dillian was his manager. They marketed him well, but ultimately he was shy. Yeah, Rosansky's the guy that
he was
sparked. I think Moses Atoma would absolutely destroy him already. I think Joe Joyce would beat him. I think Derek Chisora would beat him. I don't think he beats any of the top 15. Not a heavyweight for me. He's not big enough.
Especially coming in as a British heavyweight, because you look at the talent we've already got in the British heavyweight, and I just wonder how much of a gamble it is from Queensbury.
Massive.
I don't know.
Look at Nick Webb. Nick Webb had beat him off last week's performance.
Nick Webb looked good the other week.
Yeah, he did. Well. His boxing looked good. He didn't look good.
To be fair, it was a decent performance after 3 years out or whatever it was. And he must have been about 23 stone.
Yeah, he looked. It made me feel better about myself anyway. Let's put it that way.
Jams, I love the fight. I think it's great matchmaking. I think it's a really good step up for Moses Atoma because Dempsey McKean's only lost to Hrgovic. I think he lost in the 12th round, did he, to Filip Hrgovic. And, people are sleeping on Hrgovic now because Dubois beat him. Hrgovic is a seriously talented fighter. Still, he can come again. He underestimated Daniel Dubois that night. He was saying all the wrong things in fight week, and he was piecing Dubois up for the first bit of the fight as well.
The cut changed that fight. Changed that fight. Without that cut, that's a different fight, I believe. I think Hrgovic went in himself once he got the cut, was panicking about it, was worried about it, and then,
he fell apart. Hrgovic did. He fell apart. He didn't know what to do when he got hurt.
And I think people are reading too much into that, like he's some bum. Hrgovic beats most of them still, I believe, in the top 10. He beats a lot of them anyway.
I think it's a really good fight. I think it's a really good step up. If he goes out there and does a job on Dempsey McKean, and then I still think it's an outside chance and a big ask. I know they're still talking about Mike
Tyson. It's a big step up from Dempsey's a massive step
Marius
up.
whacked last time out. It's a step up.
He was 62.
Yeah, he's older than me.
Yeah,
Dempsey's a live fighter.
Yeah, Luca said a Coley Joyce be a good fight for both. Yeah, Frank just signing to piss Ben off. Wouldn't surprise me, Luca. Frank is.
I don't think. Listen, Ben didn't give a shit about Lawrence Okoli. No one cares about Lawrence Okoli. That's why Eddie Hearn didn't fight to keep him. Ben ain't going to fight to keep him, and I don't think he'll last 2 years at Queensbury. Lawrence Okoli will retire to his restaurant in Dubai or wherever it is and carry on serving overpriced steaks. I think he's missed his chance.
24 stone 10. Luca reckons I said, Jesus Christ, fair play to Nick Webb.
He looked every pound.
Yeah, sleeps him in 4 or 5. If he did, Jams, I'd be very, very impressed with that. Just moving on then from Lawrence Okoli, Mr. Neutral, I want to come to you on this one. I know you're in the know very much so with stateside side of boxing. Can you give me an update on what's going on with Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach?
Yeah, the fight is back on. Tank and BBC have announced it today, December the 7th, and it's back on. He's got no choice really, because every other big fight is now out of the way. So it's an all PBC in-house affair. On Prime, $89.99. I just wonder, could this be the fight that ends the PPV hype for Tank? Because be it 150,000 buys in the last fight with Frank Martin, I don't think Lamont Roach is a name that's going to break that number.
Benavidez was on the undercard against Vosdick on that one too.
And there's no David Benavidez this time. So let's just assume that it's just not going to be a very, fantastic number PPV wise. But let's get that out of the way and talk about 2025 with Gervonta Davis. Then this will be considered a tune-up, if you like, because Shaq's got nowhere to go basically in 2025 unless he wants to take gimmick fights. But the pressure's on. So I'm expecting a Shaq and Tank fight summer 2025. Fingers crossed, because the stars are now aligning.
Great fight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Definitely, we need to see that fight. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. I think I heard Shakur. Well, I saw Shakur tweeted out he's had successful hand surgery and that roll on February or something like that. So to me, I was dotting the I's and crossing the T's. He's in with Turkey and Simon Matchroom now. Will he be on the February 22nd card, do you think?
Yeah, that'll be his tune-up, if you like, as a prelude to that. Turkey Al-Sheikh has hinted that he'd love to get involved with the Tank and Shaq card. So let's see what the gods deliver in 2025. So let's get these tune-ups out of the way for both of these guys. And I do believe it will happen.
Yeah. Is Benavidez versus Morel gonna happen in January?
That'll be on a Riyadh season card. So yes, I'm assuming that's done and dusted.
What, David Benavidez will be on the Riyadh season card, not PBC? No.
No, because PBC under Tom Brown will be to represent a Riyadh season card. It did in the match of Crawford. He did with Andy Ruiz. Remember when he fought Miller?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Jarrell Miller. So yeah, they do let PBC fighters go on to the Turkey Al-Sheikh card.
Yeah. Okay, that'll be good. Jay Zapita against Shakur on the Saudi card, February 22nd. I'd want to see that. He's fighting Tevin Farmer, isn't he? I'm not keen on that fight. William Zapita. I don't know why we need
Tevin Farmer should have retired about 5 years ago. I mean, Tevin Farmer was good. I think it was
one of Eddie's big US signings when he first started, Tevin Farmer.
Oh, absolutely. But he
can fight, though.
He's well past his prime. Well past.
Yeah, he's 5 or 6 years past his best is Tevin Farmer, unfortunately. So that'll be nothing other than a run out to shake off the cobwebs, I believe.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we see Zapita.
Jam says Shaq won't do warm-ups now. I know that, but these two are, for me, are so far ahead in the lightweight division right now, Shaq and Tank. It's just a case of, what the rest will do amongst themselves. So I do believe that, who it should be, whether it be Zapita or another name, I do believe that Shaq will come through.
They could try and get Dennis Baranchik. I think he's WBO champ. He beat Emmanuel Navarrete in his last fight. They could maybe try and get a unification there. I don't know if it's not a big fight or anything like that, but it's another belt to add to the trinket and another bargaining tool at the table as well. DJ Pat says Tank doesn't sell big pay-per-view tickets for PBC, so no matter what people say, he doesn't work on pay-per-view. My take, Tank will leave PBC to go free agent, the big money that he can.
Who would win a fight between you three? Well, that definitely looks like it'd be Jay.
It wouldn't be me anyway, put it that way.
It would be me. I'll pass out after 10 seconds.
I struggle to fight sleep, lads, so looks can be very deceiving. I
might win a 50-meter sprint.
We'll call it a draw.
Big up Wayne Herman.
Yeah, that's a three-way draw.
Three-way draw, mate. Yes, Wayne.
Split draw, unless we've got Foster Conceicao judges coming in, then I might sneak a UD. We'll see.
I'll take the Polish judge at the Peterborough fight.
We'll have a tune up on the matchman card in Las Vegas. That would be a bit sharper, maybe. Yeah.
And in the Hydro in Scotland, I might have a chance.
Thanks for tuning in, Marvin. I've got O'Shaquie Foster winning on a UD. I'm sure most people are pretty universal.
I've got Conceicao 7th round TKO. After Shaq beats him 12-0 and he gets a 7th round TKO by decision.
On appeal.
Yeah,
I asked Baranchik when talking to one of his coaches in a space, and he said, "Who the fuck's he? Some Eastern? Hell no, we want real champs. We want real name." Okay, interesting. We'll keep our eye on that one. So at least we've got Tank back on then. So December the 7th. It was meant to be the 14th, wasn't it originally?
The 7th.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Brilliant. So just on February 22nd, and we may as well stay there because we've covered it off a little bit. It's in the air now whether AJ and Dubois are going to fight. Eddie Hearn saying that AJ's potentially carrying a knock and he needs to be 100%. Let's play devil's advocate and say Dubois stays on the card. Who do we think he might fight? I know my name, and I think I have a name who I think it should be, but it doesn't always work like that. Money talks and all the rest of it, but I think Joseph Parker should get the fight if that is the case.
I think it's going to be some weird fight like Wilder or something like that.
It won't be Wilder, I don't think. I don't even think they could sell it.
I think it'll sell better than Parker.
Okay. Well, Parker does have a name. It's more like Parker deserves the fight, I think, more than anything for who he's been through and what he's done. But let us know, the guys that are with us as well, who you think it would be. That's presuming they keep the ball on the card, but I think Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, they've already laid the foundations out there. They're waiting now, and what they always should have done is what they're going to do. They're going to wait for December the 21st. If Tyson Fury gets laid out by Usyk or loses convincingly to Usyk, the only fight for AJ or Fury is the fight against each other. It's as simple as that.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah, if now, it's a weird one, this, because see the unthinkable happens if Fury wins. I can see Fury wanting that undisputed with Dubois before the AG fight. I believe he could feel that fight could still marinate for another 12 months. But the lure of being undisputed against an opponent that he would feel that he could beat in Daniel Dubois, I think would prove too much. So that could probably put back the AG Fury fight for the 12 months. If Fury loses, then the AG fight is a no-brainer. It's both of them. Because I don't think that Matchroom and AG are going to rush back into the Dubois fight just yet. They have hinted that there's other avenues that they want to explore. So it's in there. But as far as Daniel Dubois' next opponent, for me, it can only be one or two guys, and that's Caballero or a Martin or Coley.
Oh, I love that fight. I love that fight. Yeah. I think I hope
it's picking AJ's ass off at floor. Sorry, it fell off. CFMA, I've got it for you, boy. I'm only joking.
Yeah, well, Parker and Cabiel and Bacoli, has that not been called to purse bids now? So, did I read that the other day?
I saw it
Have I
banding
made
about.
that up?
I don't know if it's official. I saw the same thing that you saw. It's meant to be going to purse bids, whether that's official or not. But they have stated that they want to call that fight.
I'm sure Martin Bacoli's WBA number one, and I'm sure Ajit Cabiel's WBC number one. I'm sure they are number one in a sanctioning body each, because Billy Nelson said it. So the winner of that's nailed on for a world title fight. They're going to fight. I think it makes complete sense. And credit to both of them, because neither of them, they're both in the who needs them club. Cabiel and Bacoli, they're both names that nobody really wants anything to do with, because they don't carry huge commercial value, but they're both very, very good fighters that, as they're both proved in their Riyadh season runs so far. So yeah, I'd love to see either of them fight Dubois. Obviously, Dubois will probably fight one in the interim, I'd suggest, before Cabiel and.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I say something that's against the grain?
Go on.
I don't think Cabiel's as good as everybody makes out. He hasn't boxed anyone.
Put it this way, Matt Mudov's been exposed, hasn't he, a little bit.
Who's the next name on his record? Kevin Johnson, maybe?
Frank Sanchez was a good win.
Frank Sanchez. That wasn't a great win for me, beating Frank Sanchez.
He was injured, but you know, he's good. Cabiel, I'm telling you, he'll give Bacoli problems, I think.
I mean, yeah, he very well may do. You know, Jared Anderson gave him.
I think countering, yes, he'll give Bacoli problems, but I just wonder how many of them bombs he can counter.
Yeah, I think Bacoli wins that fight for me. I think Bacoli's more seasoned. I think he's deceptively fast with his hands. Bacoli, for shape of him, it just looks like he shouldn't be able to throw as fast combinations. I think Bacoli's up there for one of the best of them all. You know, I really, really rate him, and I just think he's significantly better than Cabiel.
I mean, if you think IBF with Daniel Dubois, I fail to see a fight outside the IBF rankings for him, because all the other big guys are quite high up in the order that are below him in the IBF. So one other fight that would make sense would be Zhidi Zhang with Dubois. He's the next highest ranked guy at number 6 rather, and I feel in the absence of your Bacolis, your Caballels, 1 and 2 is not even possessions, so it would make sense that Zhang would, and it'd be a big appeal fight, especially for Queensbury, to get that chance to get the Chinese audience in before Tucker Al-Sheikh, for instance. Very big.
Bacoli KO within 9 for Jams, agrees with Jay. Yeah, Joe Parker he's the forgotten man, most definitely. Jams, he won in March.
I just don't think he sells enough. I know he's got a name and people recognise him, but he's not exciting enough for people to be that bothered about.
Yeah, it's the excitement. He's a decision guy in a division that craves knockouts.
And he's not very good on the mic. He's not, he never shit talks and stuff. So I just believe that it's the marketability for him. I think there are more glamorous fights into. That's not me saying that. I'd love to see Joseph get his shot, and I think he's more than earned it. But I think promoters look for the sexy fights, don't they, and the glamour fights. And I just believe that Parker's not a glamorous enough name, and that's why he's not being bandied about. But the pundits should be talking about him.
Yeah. He's not even ranked in the IBF.
Yeah, which is a joke. Isn't it?
Tell you who else isn't ranked with the IBF? The Gypsy King. He had a good little rant about the IBF the other day at the press conference.
Slowly becoming the new WBC, aren't they? The IBF.
Hawkins let us know November the 5th, then, so around about a week's time for the purse bids for Bacoli and Cabiel. So thanks, Hawkins, good man. That should be. There's a good video there if you like mimicking. Yeah, his videos are epic. Luca not holding back as always. Good man, Luca. IBF pile of shit they are. They annoy me the most. Yeah, Jams. Fury can't. Like, he's not in the top 15 even of the IBF. because that's what he was saying in his interview the other day. He was like, I've gone toe-to-toe and lost by a point to the best fighter of the generation, the pound-for-pound number one. The IBF don't think I'm in the top 15 in the world and all this. So, yeah, who knows? But I'm sure we'll get a decision on who's... Well, Daniel Dubois might not even fight in February. We don't know. He was going to fight in February if it was AJ, I think, but he might not fight anymore in February.
Queensbury could well say there's nobody there at the minute and just put him and wait either till the end of Riyadh season in May and see if they can do an end of those cards are yet to be announced.
Look, they've got to be careful with him, right? He got the AJ fight at the right time, didn't he? And put up a great performance, but it was at the right time. You know, that fight may have gone differently 2 or 3 years previous, I think. So they've got to be really careful with him because ultimately, if they throw him in February against Zhang or someone like that, it gets beat for me. I think Zhang beats him, and I think they've got to be really careful. So it's either got to be a massive, massive fight where I'm not saying it's worth the loss, but, you know, they don't want to be throwing him in with someone like Zhang that's not necessarily a massive fight over here, not market it right, and he gets beat and it's over for him, you know. So I think they might do what you said, Mr. Neutral, and hang fire, keep the powder dry and wait for one of the bigger fights to become available and then, you know, roll the dice maybe for a bigger, maybe, you know, something on Riyadh season or you know, part of a stadium show or something. But I don't think he fights in February.
Yeah, in the absence of AJ, yeah.
Sorry, Luca, just in response to
I saw this yesterday, Luca. Absolutely ridiculous.
I don't read fiction, so no. I don't read magazines, fiction magazines. I don't like Ring Magazine. It's shite. It's not something I read. I don't read any of
I don't know how you can have Jose Ramirez ranked above Liam Parro either.
That's what I'm saying. Everything they do is, it's everything in that magazine is written with a bias. You know, there's an ulterior motive, a promotional ulterior motive, marketing. You know, it's never. You know, magazines like, say, Boxing News, for example, I'm just picking one randomly. Their articles are generic and generalized, whereas Ring Magazine, there's always an agenda behind an article or a rankings listing. It's never as it should be. Look at that. You know, Parro should be head and shoulders above Ramirez, but, you know, Ring Magazine have got him above him. So, you know, for that reason, I'm boycotting Ring Magazine and have done for a number of years.
Yeah, exactly right, Luca. It's Oscar versus Eddie. You are correct. Jams used to collect Ring Magazine. I
went, so in my granddad's storeroom, I've got magazines dating back to 92. Boxing News and Ring Magazine dating back to 92. I've got a massive collection, but I stopped buying them in, I don't know, 2004, 2005, something like that. But I've got a decent collection.
There's just one thing quickly want to cover on, not for too long though, but just Matchroom came out and said they plan to do more UK shows next year. I can't remember the figure. I have to go and look at it again, but it's a talking point that the UK's been, if you want to call it, neglected, shall we say? From a Matchroom point of view, a lot of people would say it. Big up Wayne Herman, top man he is. Yeah, well, what are your thoughts on that, guys? I don't know if it's one a month, I think I read, but again, I don't want to misquote, so I don't know if anyone in the chat knows or yeah, that's true, Luca. They would struggle to do less, but their next UK show is Sonny Edwards against Galal Yafai on November the 30th. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the UK situation?
I mean, if Matchroom if they plan to do more shows, I mean, what they're going to do, they'll be watered down. They'll be like next gen shows, you know. I'm not holding out much hope for 2025 in terms of the domestic scene, unless they're going to bring some stars through and they're going to use it as a platform and a springboard to push them on. But we know what happens when they get the star. Potentially end up going on Riyadh season cards or taking them over to the US, and we don't.
That's exactly what happens now. Anyone who gets any kind of, I mean, even Johnny Fish is on a Riyadh season card, you know.
Yeah, and he should be doing it, copper boxing it, you know, and making that his own venue.
this is the knock-on effect, of reality. When you take promoters, your top promoters from the UK and America felt it as well when he's put on cards over there. What you find is Turkey Al Sheikh cards are basically made up of headliners that would have been in the UK.
Yes.
Chris Eubank versus Harold Zerameta would have been a headliner.
Ben
Fabio
Whittaker,
Wardley and Fraser Clark, Ben Whittaker. Yeah. All these fights would have been headliners in the UK. I said many, many months ago that what we're going to find when Riyadh season outside of Riyadh gets stopped, which he's doing now, Riyadh season is going to run from October to May every year. What we're going to find is the off season is going to be flooded with domestic cards.
Yes.
And for me, that can only be a good thing because what it does is it sets up, what I would liken it to is like NFL. It sets up your season, your off season, the play up, and then you got your Super Bowl season in Riyadh season, and that's where all the promoters have been concentrating with 5v5s, that sort of thing. All their best fighters going to Riyadh. Outside of Riyadh season, where there's just not going to be any fights over there, then we're going to see some championship fights. Then we're going to see some real good cards from Matchroom, and they'll get involved with the Vastamans, the Soilans, etc., the boxers. So they're going to be competing heavily in the UK market for that off season.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see what happens because Luke has made a really good point here. We've gone back and forth, and I'm going to ask you both. I don't expect you to know the full card because it's really not memorable at all. But we've debated for weeks and weeks and weeks on this show about this Monaco card that's coming up in December, headlined by MJ, Murodjan Ahmadaliev. He's headlining it. Obviously, probably one eye on a new A fight next year. But Chev C4 Clark's got a Euro title shot. Beatrice Ferreira's on the card as well. The best fight on the card for me is Gary Cully against Maxie Hughes. That's a solid fight. But just pulling up Luca's comment here, we spoke about Lee Wood for so long. It was rumored he was going to be on it. It was rumored Dalton Smith against Fernandez was going to be on it. We've seen Cordina on it last year, Jay. So as Luca's saying, he seemingly let Lee Wood and Cordina go, could have headlined these shows. Lee Wood especially is a decent name, but we've heard that Eddie might have been working at a loss on Lee Wood, so it doesn't make business sense, then fair enough. But so we could have Luke Littler versus Justice Hooney next as a main event. But what are we thinking of this? If you've seen the announcement for the Monaco card, guys, and I'm kind of with Jam. C4, Chev, and Gary Cully against Maxie Hughes are the fights that I'm really half interested in. It's not a great card.
No, it's not.
That makes up more or less the bulk of the card, those three fights. And I mean, I love Beatrice Ferreira. I think she's a great wee boxer. She lost at the Olympics, but she's got that look forward to clash with Caroline Dubois later on. So this is I like this card actually compared to last year's. I think this has got more potential for action.
Terrible. Yeah. Joe Cordina headlined it, didn't he, in a snooze fest?
Yeah. I'm underwhelmed by it. I'm not. I mean, it couldn't be any worse than last year's, could it?
That's exactly. I mean, Gary Cully and who's he fighting again?
Maxie Hughes.
Maxie. Two popular guys.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Always, been on British TV for the last 2 years. Gary Cully enjoyed a good run on TV. So yeah, that's a good fight. Chev Clark, as James
Chev Clark said, fight for the European belt. Fair play to Chev. He's moving at some pace. Actually, he went to America on.
He's got a lot of support. So this card's quite appealing to many people for the right reason.
Pat said Matchroom need to make more cards in the UK, but still what will they put on those cards? They have more US fighters than UK fighters. Eddie needs to get some good UK and Irish fighters. Eddie, Jam said it earlier, I think, in the chat. Eddie needs to really get some good UK signings. He's going to sign Josh Taylor, isn't he? That's all but official. I think the whole
he's signing a 3-fight deal.
Yeah.
3 possible opponents for Josh would obviously be Regis, Haney, and maybe Conor Benn.
Yeah, it has to be. I don't know what your thoughts are, Mr. Neutral. For me, it has to be at 147.
Yeah. He's cooked at 140 now. For me, I mean, if you're going to make Josh stay at 140, you're going to make an Adam Azim and Josh Taylor?
Oof.
No. But are you going to make a Haney and Josh Taylor? Yes,
or Dalton. Dalton's matchroom.
Dalton's matchroom as well, but that's still not going to.
That's cannon fodder, though. You can't sign him and use him as cannon fodder. I heard that.
No. But what it really is now, if you look at the sign, they make his sub purposes, right? Regis Brogy can't do 12 rounders anymore. But if he was to come over and fight Josh Taylor for a 10-rounder, where he feels far more comfortable as a big name, 2-time world champion, still wants to mix it up in the big game. He had a great show on there with Saturday with Jack Carroll. At one point, Sam Jones was shitting himself, thinking his career's over at round 5. And Jack pulled it round 9, sign of a champion. Big up him, and I hope he goes on and does well against the winner of Hitchens and Parrow, should he go that route. But I'm trying to get into the mind of Eddie Hearn, and how do I use Josh Taylor? What's it, in the words of that famous film, what could I use you for? And well, I can use you for Regis. He needs to fight. He's in no man's land at 140, 143, 147, and he doesn't know where he's at.
Like at the minute,
well,
seems pretty sour.
With who?
With Eddie and Haney.
No, when it comes to business, Haney's a businessman. If a ludicrous offer comes, and it's going to be more than what you get against a Sander Martin or somebody out of the 140 division right now that's not a Josh Taylor, and fighting the UK on a big card. Man, that's going to be. And then obviously the big one of the lot, Conor Benn versus Josh Taylor. 2 guys, no man's land again.
That makes
Conor
sense.
Benn's not,
it weirdly makes sense.
And it's an appealing fight because Conor Benn's controversial. Josh Taylor's got the mouth. England, Scotland, these two would be attic. Can you imagine it?
Are we forgetting Conor Benn's not? Conor Benn can't fight over here.
Mate, there'll be an announcement soon about Conor Benn.
There's going to be an announcement soon. Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't ever
because he's.
Robert Smith was there with him the other day. We all saw it plain and clear, didn't we?
We did, mate. So you've got to accept the inevitable. I mean, there's plenty of. I mean, Alberto Puello, current WBC 140 champion, got done for drugs. Angelo on that in his system managed to somehow explain it away and gets let off back in. If we just got to accept it. Has he served this time? Was it two and a bit years he's been out now? But the UK. But he has fought in America against Pistol Pete to try and keep himself busy. I understand it, but we've got to come to the conclusion at some point he's going to get off suspension and he's going to be put back in the circuit.
Yeah, and what
exactly? As sickening as it is, Jay, but that's what you. I've got my promoter's head on now, and as hated men sell tickets.
They do.
Simple as that.
Hated men,
I think you get a raucous atmosphere for Ben against Taylor. I really do.
But I heard that he wants
to do a fight at the SSE Hydro and then one in a stadium.
It'd be in Scotland. It would be in Scotland. That I mean, Josh would insist on that. And it's not the first time Matchroom have done Scotland, so
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
Dawn Smith needs to get Adam Azim in the ring. That would be a great fight. Yeah, we'll see. But Matchroom either way need to get the finger out with some big UK fights and signings. So hopefully Josh Taylor will be announced soon, and we'll. I love that. That's a really good idea. The Conor Benn fight, because as Pat alluded to earlier, I love DJ Pat's Eubank rants. He's determined for Chris Eubank to be a misfit. Loves it. So Eubank is Ben Shalom said Eubank and Canelo is in preliminary talks. Now take of that what you will, but we seem to be getting further away from Eubank against Ben again. Do we think, boys, Canelo would travel to Wembley? Can his guarantees be met at a Wembley Stadium show? Unless he won't work with Turkey, will he? Because they're at they don't like each other, or you never know. Business talks, I guess. But
this would be Cinco de Mayo. It'd be off-season Riyadh in 2025. So the possibility that yes, it can be made. Canelo Promotions can easily team up with Matchroom Promotions. And Boxer to make this fight. It's what can you say? Can you blame Canelo for taking this fight with Chris Eubank?
No,
3-time big shout out to Rico Boxing. He likes this three-time shout. IBO champion that Chris Eubank is. Now
he loves it. Yeah, loves it.
Canelo, but listen, from British point of view, in Britain, Canelo, Wembley Stadium, 90,000. I don't care. You don't think Canelo will sell out Wembley?
Nope. I don't think either of them will. It's not happening. That
fight's
not
I do.
I don't even know we're wasting time. You're telling me that 95... From where? Canelo didn't sell out his last fight in the US. So they can tell us he did, but I know it didn't sell. There were tickets left for that, and that's in his home. That's at home.
I don't know. If they win 90,000 coming out for Chisora, they're going to come out for Canelo.
Yeah, but Chisora get two. I'll bet you as much as you want. They won't do it. They won't do that at Wembley. It won't sell.
So, do you think the fight will happen, though, Jay? Do you think the fight will happen next year? No. What's the alternative?
What does he get out of fighting Eubank? There's no benefit. It's not testing him.
Canelo's at that stage of his career. What did he get out of Berlanga? What did he get out of Munguia? What did he get out of Charlo? What did he get out of Ryder? He's kind of just fighting since Dimitri Bivol.
But they're all voluntary. They're mandatories out there. Eubank's nowhere near him.
This will be the first off-mandatory fight.
Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see, but I don't believe it happens. Not one iota.
On whose behalf? On whose behalf?
Neither. I don't even think Canelo's interested in fighting Chris Eubank.
Well, Eubank and Charlo are begging for it. They're begging for it on the boxing side.
Chris Eubank Jr. has been begging for fights since he turned over. That's all he does. He's begged for Triple G. His dad said he was the man to beat Mayweather, and he's always talked shit and begged for fights. Canelo's not asked about fighting Chris Eubank Jr. He's not a big enough name. Not over there to them. In Chris Eubank Jr.'s head he is, and fans of his. But let's be real, man. Chris Eubank Jr. is not a big enough draw. He's not, man. If he'd won a world title, a legitimate world title, then yeah, we'd have got the push behind him. But he's always flattered to deceive, and he's done nothing to deserve that fight. Absolutely not for me. I don't think it'll happen. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. Happy to be proven.
What's the alternative for Eubank then, do you think?
It's Ben or Canelo.
In 2025. Is it just Ben?
Pissed off. There was all the favour.
He's not going to fight Janabek, is it? He might fight Erislandy Lara if he wants to try and get a version of a world title.
Yeah.
It's a winnable fight because Lara's 45. Hamza's going to fight Adames probably, isn't he? I would say. I don't think the Janabek fight will happen. Eubank won't fight Janabek, no chance. So they're the options, aren't they, really?
I mean, with the greatest respect, Jay, I've got to disagree that Canelo wouldn't do great numbers over here.
I'm not saying he wouldn't do great numbers. What I'm saying is he won't do 90,000. You're having yourself on.
Because,
do 90,000.
well, whatever the capacity is there, I don't know what the capacity is at Wembley Stadium. Let's say it's a sellout, right? Let's use that word. It's a sellout at Wembley Stadium. You know, that is still a mega event in the boxing calendar of 2025. In itself, Wembley Stadium, Canelo fight.
It won't happen. I'm telling you now. Canelo won't fight over here. I don't even think there's no one.
I'm just thinking of
will he fight in
the
Japan?
alternatives at 160. You know, is he going to take a Christian and Billy fight that's going to come nowhere near a Wembley fight in financial terms? You know, if you take Vegas, for instance, Canelo goes to Vegas and he charges $5,000 to $20,000 as a ticket, as Hawkan quite rightly says there. You know, a Canelo fight here, even at half of those prices,
won't sell out,
would generate huge numbers compared to the venue in Vegas that only holds 21,000 compared to, say, let's see 60,000 to be fair, right, at Wembley. That is on par, if not above, the earning potential of a Eubank fight, as opposed to, say, the Christian and Billy at 168, or who else is there?
Yeah,
I don't know right now. So I'm just thinking financially to keep that, and let's not pretend that Canelo's not going to win. It just adds to that longevity of Canelo's resume. You know, he's beaten names. He's got a Chris Eubank. That's all that I see it from.
Yeah, look, to be fair, I see both sides of the coin, but Canelo's not got that many options, I don't think, on the table.
That's what I'm saying, alternative-wise.
Yeah, like he doesn't really. It's Christian and Billy, and Chris Eubank Jr. has been fighting at 160, and Canelo's 168 champion. You know, William Skulls just won that belt. He ain't going to fight him unless he wants to become undisputed again. But what's the point in that? Who wants to fight William Skull? So, like, realistically, it's Christian and Billy's the other guy. Benavidez and Morel have moved up to 175, and they're going to fight there. So, like, where realistically
they're going to fight each other? Yeah.
Yeah. So what?
I just don't see.
If it does, I think they'll do it over there. You're not getting him over here because it's too risky in terms.
There is that to it as well. No one really wants to. You know, the Americans aren't massive on coming over to the UK, are they? But you know,
I think if it had fought Triple G over here, it'd sell more than him fighting Eubank Jr. over here. Eubank Jr. is not a draw. Canelo's a draw, but I don't believe he'd fill Wembley Stadium without the right dance partner.
I just think it'd be one of them freak fights, though, Jay. You know, like rather like Tank and Garcia was. Nobody expected 1.2 billion buys at $90. You know, that was it's never to be repeated between you know, any boxer in those divisions. So I get the feeling this could be one of them freak fights that the combination of the face of boxing in Canelo and the combination of the playboy British boxer in Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah, they could sell it. They could sell it, definitely. There's no doubt about that.
They could sell it.
Wembley
I'm sure
Arena,
they could.
maybe.
I really.
It
depends on the venue. I think you attach the name of like Wembley to some, you know, that fight, and you've got Canelo Promotions. It's mate. Boxing's coming to town. And London,
like it or hating, Chris Eubank Jr. has got profile as well.
They'd sell 60,000 tickets just in London for that fight for me. Just in London.
I don't know.
Never mind the rest of the country.
So like Wembley versus Eubank Jr., but £50 a ticket, not $2,000 or whatever he charges in Vegas.
That ringside seats will be $2,000.
Yeah, they'll have to give out 40,000 comps to fill Wembley. Maybe Wembley Arena, but Wembley Stadium.
Well, funny enough, you say that, Jay. They give out 22,000 for the last fight there.
AJ Dubois.
That's right. Yeah, that's why there's only 78,000 sales.
I heard that somewhere.
68,000 sales.
Came out about
Yeah,
that.
22,000 comps. Again, the comps really aside, right? The tick of the gate sales alone would still top those numbers for me. Such would be the appeal of a megastar coming to the UK. If I knew he came to the UK, it'd be the same thing.
To boxing fans, but he's not a crossover, right? I've watched boxing in my house for 40 years. If I showed my missus a picture of Canelo, she wouldn't have a clue who he was. So the casuals won't go. The casuals will not buy tickets, I don't believe, to watch Canelo. People like us would. Well, I wouldn't, but boxing fans would, to go watch him. But that fight's not happening over here. I just don't think. Like you said, Sam, I think we've got more chance of seeing him fight someone in Japan than over here. They'll pay. They've got the money to pay. We're not paying him 150 million to come and potentially fill out.
No, he's not going to get 150 million.
He'll get his standard package, I think.
He made 60 mil against Berlanga.
Yeah, 40 he asked for, don't he? With his
and from a Canelo Alvarez point of view, if you're getting paid 60 million to fight Edgar Berlanga, like why the hell would you fight anyone of any stature? He's making it absolute ridiculous. I mean, he's won everything anyway.
But Berlanga brought that Puerto Rico Mexico flavor, you know, that rivalry. So it did well on that part. But any other fight outside of 160, it just doesn't exist for Canelo. I mean, to make that kind of money again.
I'm with you. Just a couple more then before we go, boys. Sugar Nunes and Anthony Kakachi's been called for purse bids as well. That's on the 7th of November, so that's in around about 10 days' time or so. Sugar's long overdue this fight. He's an absolute. He's going to go on to dominate, in my opinion. The power that man possesses at super feather. I don't think he'll stay at super feather for too much longer. To be honest, I think he might even win the belt and go up and join them boys at 135, and he's going to be a name that no one's going to have inside their mouth. As Jam says, I worry for Anto in that one as well, but he's a tough man, is Anthony Kakachi. But we'll see what happens, because Anto did talk about, you know, vacating and fighting Lee Wood and that kind of thing. So I don't know, but if I know Anthony Kakachi from watching the guy, you know what a story he's got. But I'd imagine that he'll want to try and defend his IBF World Championship. I don't know what you boys think there.
I've got mixed feelings about this one. Yeah, I'm more inclined to think that he's going to pass on this one and take the Leeward fight.
They could do that on the 5 versus 5 in February, or if Wood re-signs in Matchroom.
I just think Sugar Nunes will take him apart.
I think he'd beat them both. I think he'd beat them both.
For an IBF, for an IBF prospect, I think the Leeward fight is one. If you're going to go out that way and get paid for it.
I think, I agree with Jams there, and I agree with you, Mr. Neutral. I think he's going to potentially try avoid that, because I fear for him in that. Sugar Nunes, I don't even think it'll be deep water. I think he'll beat him early. I think he'll just jump on him and smash him to pieces. I think Nunes is just a cut above most of them for me.
Yeah, no one's taking that power at 130 pounds, man.
He's hungry. That's the thing, isn't?
Yeah.
No one wasn't coming up against extremely hungry guy.
Yeah.
Anto's got
for me, it's
3 fights just tops, I think.
Yeah, he's not got many left, Anto. Has a couple, maybe at top level. He needs to make hay while the sun shines.
Your money's not fighting Eduardo Nunes, trust me.
No, because that will be it for him in terms of being a world champion. It's a long way to come back up. So he needs to, as I said, make hay while the sun shines. Try get the Wood fight, and go from there. But Nunes...
Yeah, because the fall would be spectacular, and that would reflect in his rankings.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a steep climb back up, isn't it, for a fall like that?
Yeah, very steep. And at his age, I don't think he'll be too inclined to want to go down that road again.
He didn't expect to be a world champion. Now he's in a position where he's won and defended a world championship. Well, sorry, it wasn't on the line, was it, against Warrington? But he essentially defended it.
As such, he has, hasn't he?
He's he's way further on than he thought he'd ever be in his career. So now he needs to just secure his family and his grandkids' future and the rest of it. And
he's made champion. Yeah, he's got the accolade. Make some money. Go out.
Yeah, Carl Frampton famously said that he was delivering Chineses in his spare time 12 months ago. Anthony Cacace, just to put food on the table, went out there and took the opportunity against Joe Cordina, beat Josh Warrington at Wembley. He's going to have another huge fight next up. So big up the Apache, Andy Town Apache, Anthony Cacace, because that's some turnaround.
It's a lovely story.
Oh, it is. It's fantastic. It just shows you what's there with the Riyadh season events too. First round or two, Nunes versus Wood would be. Do you know what? It's a calamity that Lee Wood has been out since October 2023, and he hasn't got a fight announced. It's an absolute calamity. The guy is so fun to watch, man. He's unbelievable, and just a shame that it's come down to money and all the rest of it. And Lee's 33, 34, and he's a featherweight, super featherweight. He hasn't got long left on the clock, man. His career's rotting away.
Yeah.
Well, they're both the same age, around that same age. So mid-30s. If they play it right, they could well get a rematch out of this as well. If they have a great fight, which the British fans just scream rematch. So that'll be a good honour for them.
Yeah, definitely. Anton cannot avoid Sugar anymore. He needs to fight that mandatory. Mateko, drop that belt and take Wood. It makes sense. Ultimately, he'll get called a duck and all the rest of it, but you got to look after yourself. Boys, announced today, Mr. Frank Warren has tied down Nick Ballham to Shabaz Masoud, Anthony Cacace. We're just talking about Liam Davies and Sam Noakes to long-term deals. He's not playing, Mr. Frank Warren, is he? That's huge news for him. He's dominating, isn't he? Dominating the game.
Well, most of them boxers have been with them since the very start of their careers. Yeah, he's been a father figure. He's molded them, and it makes sense, perfect sense that they're all successful under his banner. Continue. It's not broken. Do not fix it.
Yeah. He's doing the Newcastle.
You kind of saw in the 5v5 how much solidarity's there, didn't you, in the Queensbury camp? There's a real... They're close, aren't they?
It's like a team.
Very much so.
They're stable. Whereas Eddie Hearn has a load of individuals. Frank Warren's got a proper stable, an old school stable. He's doing it how they always did it. I remember... going to fights in the 90s and the early 2000s, and all the stable would be there. Not just the gym, the stable would be there. Promotional stable would be there supporting their stable mates. You don't get that from Eddie Hearn. You get the odd one that's there sat on the front row for themselves as part of a comp. So it's not a surprise to me that he's tied them all down to long-term deals. They're all being really successful. He's brought them that success, and they've all repaid him with loyalty, and he's repaid them now with long-term deals. It's refreshing to see. It's taking it back to how boxing used to be. And Frank has never... I know he's evolved in the modern era, but he's kept a lot of his old style promotional values, and I love to see it, man.
Luca, that is a fantastic question, mate, and something I was thinking about actually a couple of minutes ago. Do you think it bothers Eddie Hearn, like Frank Warren is, by clearing away just having the best year out of any
burns him like
not even close? And Frank is the lead name on every Riyadh season event. It's Queensbury is promoting Anthony Joshua's fights at Wembley. They're the guys. He got Eddie in on the it's Frank Warren's name on everything. He's killing it. And Luca's got a fair point there. Is the gap bigger between Frank and Eddie now than it is between Eddie and Ben Shalom? Obviously, Eddie's got the US and Mexico, which Frank doesn't dip his toes in.
That's where it could even up. Yeah. That's where it could even up on a global scale. But as far as the UK is concerned, Queensbury have it wrapped up at the minute. And the average age of those guys are very low.
Yeah, so young.
Sorry,
Frank's never been bothered about globally, has it? In all the years, Frank's never really been bothered about the international market. He's always been a homer. And I think to Eddie's detriment, he's spread himself a little bit thin. and given Eddie a gap in the market. You know, and Frank's took
Has
it.
he got too many pies on the go?
Yeah.
Where he just
It's not that.
he's just keeping it going nicely.
That's allowed batsmen, Soiland and Boxer to flourish while the cat's been away. The mice will
he's
play.
Away, Mexico and US with his fancy shirts on, being the king of the castle, and at home, Frank's just grafting away. Remember, 3 years ago, everybody
He was
said
done.
It
was over.
Done. Box Nation was on its ass. Queensbury was, you know, on its ass. And look now, they've got a massive TNT deal. Frank's leading the way in Saudi. Frank's leading the way here. Frank's the go-to. So it's fantastic that he's.
And you got GMB as well, who are flourishing under Izzy and Adam. You know, so if he's not careful, these guys can grow exponentially behind him, and if not overtake him, because Boxer is stable, is looking very strong compared to Eddie's as well.
But yeah, in answer to the question, I believe that the gap between Eddie and Frank now is bigger than the gap between Ben and Eddie.
Domestically, it's an accurate statement. It's an accurate 100%. Statement. Eddie cashing in money does not care much, and he looks like that. Eddie's in the US is still doing good, so why does he need to worry? I think
he still needs his bread and butter.
Yeah, the UK is where his business was built, and it'll burn him inside, like Jay said and Luca said, and I agree with the boys as well. It'll burn him inside that Frank Warren's dominating at the minute in the UK. It's not close, and obviously. A lot of the talk is they're going to have this rematch for the 5 versus 5 in February. So we'll see what comes of that too. But Eddie's going to be wanting to get one back there, and any business best dominating its lane rather than trying to cover elsewhere. GBM signed Max then into the matchroom fight after. I guess Eddie and Izzy were sat there at the Sheffield show the other week, weren't they? So that could have probably been. Probably been discussed there. GBM have had better shows than Wasserman Boxing. Soon will be third in the UK. GBM are putting on really good cards, actually, Hawkan, you're right.
A racehorse coming up the outside.
Until HMRC gets involved, and then GBM will be like MTK Global and will disappear within the next 2 years.
Whoa, big show.
Everyone's too scared to a fucking comment. Fucking come on, man. Where's all dough come from? Where's all dough come from?
Listen, guys, get in that chat and take this man to task, because that is a massive show.
I don't think I'll be around it next
week. No. They must agree with you, G.
I think they'll be in and out. But listen, good luck to them. They're putting on some great little shows, some cute little boxing shows. They've got some big signings, haven't they? Adam Smith, is it Adam Smith, the face of Sky Boxing? Left?
That's right.
Cancer, didn't he?
That's right.
Spoke about it since. Sky just let him go after 28 years. Didn't even say goodbye. That stinks for me, but that's another show.
Disagree, Jay. I think he's building something. Maxie didn't sign. Maxie Hughes still with Lou DeBella. That's right. DeBella Entertainment have Maxie Hughes. 5 versus 5, then Matchroom learns to bring in his top dogs this time, and they'll try and get.
It's going to be good. It's going to be really good.
Most definitely. Thanks, Hawk. I didn't know that. Was sure heard as he says signed him. No, absolutely. We'll take a look at what's to come then. But I think we'll wrap it up there for the evening, boys. Mr. Neutral of iBoxing, thank you very much for joining us tonight, sir. Really appreciate that.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Big thanks to Jams Boxing Chat, Luca, DJ Pat, Hawkan, amongst others. Wayne Herman was with us. Big up Wayne as always. D-Dog Marvin was with us a little bit early. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys. We'll be back on Friday for a watch along to the Pro Box TV card headlined by Podrick McCrory against Carrillo. Saturday, obviously, for Liam Davies against Shabaz Masoud. We will do Chantel Cameron as well. And then O'Shaquie Foster, we'll have a little look at that as well. And
DJ Pat, thank you.
Cheers, Wayne, top man. Thanks as well, Pat. Logan GBN and Izzy are doing. Adam Smith has let go because he got cancer.
Really, GBN. I'll have a separate conversation with you about that then, will I?
Big up, Mr. Hawk, Annie Hansen. Mr. Neutral, anything you've got coming up this week? Hard talk?
Yeah, Hard Talk USA. Jay, hope to see you there. Anybody else who's in the chat, you're welcome to come through. It's everything that's been in the last weeks since last Hard Talk. But of course, we'll be previewing the weekend's fights as well. And of course, the rematch. First previews of between Usyk and Fury. So Friday night Hard Talk. Be there. Come, you're all welcome.
Top stuff. Check that out over on iBoxing Hub. Thanks very much, guys. Great show, and look forward to doing it again soon. Have a good evening, everyone.